I did not sleep very well last night. I was excited, but I was also nervous. Today was my first day at a new job. Everything was new. New people, new office, new routine. I woke up early before my alarm. I looked at my phone. It was only 6 a.m. I smiled and said to myself, today is the day. I got out of bed and made some coffee. While I ate breakfast, I looked at my notebook one more time. I had written the office address, my manager's name, and the time I needed to arrive. I checked my bag 3 times. Phone, wallet, keys, notebook, everything was there. I chose simple clothes, a blue shirt, black pants, and comfortable shoes. I looked in the mirror. You can do this, I said quietly. Then I left home. The morning was cool. The streets were busy, but not too crowded. I listened to music during the bus ride. It helped me relax a little. About 30 minutes later, I arrived in front of the building. It was taller than I expected. The glass windows reflected the morning sun. I took a deep breath. Okay, I whispered. I walked inside. The lobby was bright and clean. A woman sat behind the front desk. She smiled. Good morning, I answered. How can I help you? My name is Emily. Today is my first day. Oh, welcome. Please sign in here. I wrote my name on the visitor list. She gave me a badge. Take the elevator to the 5th floor. Your manager is waiting for you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Have a great first day. I smiled again. The elevator was quiet. I watched the numbers go up. 2, 3, 4, 5. The doors opened. A man was waiting near the elevator. He smiled. Hi, you must be Emily. Yes, I am. I'm David. Welcome to the team. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too. He shook my hand. Come with me. We walked through the office together. Others talked in small meeting areas. I could hear keyboards, phones, and quiet conversations. The office felt busy, but friendly. David showed me the coffee area. This is our kitchen. It looks nice. Coffee is free. I laughed. That's good news. He laughed too. You'll hear that from everyone. Then we walked to a small meeting room. Several people were already there. David smiled. Everyone, this is Emily. People looked at me and smiled. Hi, Emily. Welcome. It's nice to meet you. I smiled back. Thank you. It's nice to meet all of you. David introduced everyone. This is Sarah. She waved. Hi, this is Michael. Welcome. This is Jessica. She smiled warmly. And this is Kevin. Kevin nodded. Nice to meet you. There were a few more people, but I was already trying to remember all the names. It was not easy. David laughed. Don't worry. It takes time. I hope so. Sarah smiled. I forgot everyone's names on my first day too. That made me feel better. David showed me my desk. It was near a big window. I liked it immediately. The sunlight came inside, and I could see trees outside. There you are, David said. My desk? Yes. I love it. I'm happy to hear that. On the desk, there was a small welcome card. It said, Welcome to the team. There was also a notebook and a company pen. It was a small surprise. I smiled. That's very kind. Jessica walked over. Do you need anything? I think I'm okay. If you have questions, just ask. Thank you. No problem. I sat down and looked around. Everyone seemed busy, but nobody looked stressed. People smiled when they walked by. One woman said, Good morning. I answered, Good morning. A few minutes later, David returned. Let's set up your computer. Sounds good. He showed me how to log in. He explained the company email. He helped me change my password. Everything was simple. If something doesn't work, call IT. Okay, they're very nice. I hope I don't need them today. David laughed. I hope so too. After that, he gave me a schedule for the day. First, you'll complete a short orientation. Okay, then you'll meet your team. Great. After lunch, we'll show you your first project. Perfect. I felt a little calmer. Knowing the plan made everything easier. Around 10 o'clock, Sarah came to my desk. Coffee? Yes, please. We walked to the kitchen together. She made coffee while I looked around. There was a refrigerator, a microwave, and many mugs. Someone had brought donuts. Do people always bring food? I asked. Sarah smiled. Almost every Friday. That's dangerous. She laughed. I know. We both took coffee. I also picked one small donut. It looks delicious. It is. We sat at a small table. So, Sarah asked, Where are you from? I moved here a few months ago. How do you like the city? I like it. I'm still learning. That's normal. What about you? I've lived here my whole life. Really? Yes. You must know all the good restaurants. She smiled proudly. I do. I'll need recommendations. I have a long list. We laughed. The conversation felt easy. I was happy. Maybe making friends here would not be so difficult. When we returned to our desks, David invited me to join a short meeting. There were 6 people around a table. David started. Today, I'd like everyone to welcome Emily. People smiled again. One by one, they introduced themselves. Some worked in marketing. Some worked in customer service. Others worked in finance. I listened carefully. I wanted to remember everything. The meeting was simple. People talked about the week's goals. I understood most of the conversation. Sometimes I did not know every word, but I understood the main idea. That gave me confidence. After the meeting, Kevin stopped by my desk. Hi, if you need help with Excel, ask me. I definitely will. He smiled. And if your printer doesn't work? He pointed across the room. That's usually my fault. I laughed. I'll remember that. He laughed too. Back at my desk, I opened my notebook. I wrote a few names. Sarah, David, Jessica, Kevin, Michael. I also wrote little notes. Sarah likes coffee. Kevin helps with Excel. David is the manager. It helped me remember. Around noon, my stomach reminded me that it was lunchtime. Just then, Jessica appeared. We're going to lunch. Oh, would you like to come with us? I smiled. I'd love to. Jessica smiled. Great. Let's go. We walked out of the office together. Sarah, Kevin, Michael, and 2 other coworkers came with us. The restaurant was only a few minutes away. It was a small place with sandwiches, salads, and soup. I come here every week, Sarah said. The soup is really good. I think I'll try it, I said. We stood in line and talked. Michael looked at me. So, Emily, what did you do before this job? I worked at a small company. What was your job? I helped customers and organized documents. Then you'll learn this job very fast. I hope so. You will, Jessica said. Everyone was friendly. Nobody asked difficult questions. Nobody made me feel uncomfortable. We found a table by the window. The conversation changed from work to movies, pets, music, and weekend plans. Kevin showed us a picture of his dog. He is so cute. I said, thank you. He thinks he owns my house. Everyone laughed. Sarah asked me, what do you like to do after work? I like reading books, walking in the park, and making coffee at home. Oh, I love coffee too, she said. We should visit a coffee shop one day. I'd like that. Lunch went by quickly. When we walked back to the office, I already felt more relaxed. The office didn't feel so new anymore. It was starting to feel familiar. Back at my desk, David came over. Ready for your first task? I think so. He smiled. Good answer. He sat next to me and opened a document on my computer. This is a customer file. He explained each part slowly. He showed me where to find information and how to save my work. I listened carefully. Then he asked, do you want to try? Yes. I started working. At first, I was very careful. I read everything twice. I checked every number. I wanted to do a good job. After a few minutes, I had a question. I looked around. Jessica noticed. Need help? Yes, please. She came over. Oh, that's easy. She clicked one button. There you go. Oh, I laughed. I was looking everywhere. It happens to everyone. Thank you. Anytime. I continued working. Little by little, everything became easier. I was still learning, but I wasn't afraid anymore. Around 3 o'clock, something funny happened. My phone rang very loudly. I had forgotten to put it on silent. Everyone looked at me. My face became red. I'm so sorry. David laughed. No problem. Kevin smiled. It happens. I quickly turned off the sound. A few people laughed kindly. It wasn't embarrassing anymore. It became a funny moment. A little later, Sarah stopped by. We're getting coffee again. Already? She laughed. It's how we survive the afternoon. I understand. This time I knew exactly where the kitchen was. We filled our cups and stood near the window. The sun was shining. The office felt calm. Sarah asked, so, how was your first day? I smiled. This morning I was very nervous. And now? Now I feel much better. I'm glad. Everyone has been so kind. We try. It really makes a difference. She nodded. I remember my first day. Were you nervous too? Very. What helped you? People smiled. They answered my questions. Nobody expected me to know everything. I smiled. That helps me too. We finished our coffee and returned to work. The afternoon passed quickly. I completed another small task. David checked my work. He smiled. Nice job. Really? Yes. I was worried. You don't need to be perfect on your first day. I know. You learned fast. Thank you. That simple sentence made me very happy. Near the end of the day, David invited me to his office. I wondered if I had made a mistake. But when I sat down, he smiled. So, Yes? How was your first day? It was better than I expected. I'm happy to hear that. I was nervous this morning. That's completely normal. I already learned a lot. And tomorrow you'll learn even more. I'm looking forward to it. He handed me a small notebook with the company logo. This is for you. Oh, thank you. Welcome to the team. I really appreciate it. When I walked back to my desk, I packed my bag. Jessica waved. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Michael smiled. Have a good evening. You too. Kevin called from across the room. Don't forget your notebook. I laughed. I won't. Sarah walked with me to the elevator. I'm happy you joined our team. I'm happy too. We'll get coffee tomorrow. It's a deal. The elevator doors opened. We said goodbye. I walked through the lobby again. This morning, I had walked in feeling nervous. Now I walked out smiling. Outside, the air felt fresh. The sun was beginning to set. People were leaving work. Some were talking on the phone. Some were walking home. Some were waiting for the bus. I sat on a bench for a minute. I looked up at the building. This morning it looked big and unfamiliar. Now it looked different. It looked like a place where I belonged. I took out my phone and called my mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, how was your first day? I smiled. It was really good. Tell me everything. I laughed. It will take a while. I'm listening. I told her about the office. I told her about David. I told her about Sarah and the coffee. I told her about the funny phone call. She laughed with me. I knew you would do well. I wasn't sure this morning. But now you know. Yes, I think I found a good place. I'm proud of you. Thank you. After the call, I walked to the bus stop. I felt tired, but it was a good kind of tired. I had learned many new names. I had learned new skills. I had met kind people. Most importantly, I had learned something about myself. Sometimes the hardest part is simply walking through the front door. After that, little by little, everything becomes easier. The next morning, I knew I would still have many things to learn. But I also knew one important thing. I wasn't afraid anymore. I smiled all the way home. And I couldn't wait to come back tomorrow.